So yesterday, Steel Bull Studios created a Steam page for Secret of the Mimic. And in this video, I want to go through it. I want to talk about some of the things that are in there, and I want to break it down, essentially. So Steel Bull Studio just put out the Secret of the Mimic Steam page. And in this video, I want to go over it because there's lots of new screenshots, new information, and new stuff about Secret of the Mimic. It's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to its release later this year. First things first, we start off with just the standard Secret of the Mimic trailer.
Let me explain the situation.
It's just standard, normal, as you do. Alright, so the first new image here we see is actually the mascot costume for the elephant guy. I don't know if this is like an early version or just a separate mascot costume entirely. Maybe this is like a flashback or something. Unlike the one we see in the trailer, this one is actually not fully kitted out with skin. It's got like the underlayer of like foam and stitching, and like you could see some electronics here, so maybe this is going to be an actual animatronic, but it looks more like a wearable suit. Like something that you'd like, you could put your hands in and control the fingers with your own fingers and put this mascot hat on. It is just slightly odd to me that there is actually electronics in here. There's metal that shows like an animatronic skeleton. There's also some strange things on the shelf here. I don't know, this almost looks like a jar with something in it. Kind of hard to tell what it is. Yeah, this looks like probably the workshop that Edwin makes the animatronics in, which is pretty cool. The next screenshot, we can see the fully kitted out elephant costume. You can see it says main hallway. It looks like we just came out of that room that we were in. This looks like the boxes and the shelving. Looks pretty similar. We could also see that the walls are a similar color. Like it's got that like weird greenish hue. And there we have the greenish hue as well. We can actually get a better look at this like dog or duck. I'm guessing it's a dog. It looks more like a dog. This dog animatronic costume thing. As well as, it looks like it might be a hippo. It's got like a pink hand with like some pads on the fingers. I don't know, but the only animal that I really know that's ever pink is a hippo, so that's pretty cool. We've also got this Sans Undertale papyrus looking dude over here, and then the bee as well, and something over off to the left here. Can't fully tell what that is, but this looks like the area that we see in the trailer where we put the thing on and then start cranking it with our hand. That looks like this area. It's concerning that as soon as we pass through this area, it seems like we'll be faced with this thing. The next screenshot, we get to see this amazing shot of Maestro Music Man, as most of the fans have been calling it. We can actually see that it's got like the rotating lullaby-esque music box thing in its mouth, and the teeth are actually the pins that make the various frequencies to sound like a music box. But yeah, it looks really good. The way the ears are like gramophones, and then the top hat's all glowy. It's crazy the scale of this guy considering the time. Like this is way back in 1979. He's got a full-on scaffolding body. Like it's insane. It's insane how well made he is. The next screenshot we can see once again looks like actual gameplay because we have the little reticle, but we can see Jackie coming out of the vent that we saw in the trailer, except this time instead of just looking around, Jackie is locked in on us. Jackie sees us, has spotted us, and is likely going to jump down and chase us. Very creepy. All right, the second last screenshot we have here is actually the main office that we saw once again. We can get a better look at this machine over here. It says MCM on the front, which is maybe like Murray Company machines. I don't know, but I'm sure it has something to do with Edwin Murray. But yeah, this looks like one of those, we'll have to insert that data drive thing in order to access this, and this as well. Except this looks like it's got like a bow tie on it, so maybe this is locked behind some kind of access code that we need that will get onto the data drive, and then we'll be able to insert it and input this password in order to access this terminal. I'm not sure. Maybe that's just something I have as an idea, but yeah. On top of all, like both of these things, there's also a little MCM on whatever the heck this is. Looks like, I'm guessing this is a radio. It looks like it's got like the frequency dial here, the power button, maybe a little bar here for you to tell what frequency you're on. And then on top of it is obviously the microphone, which we could assume goes to this room, but I believe it's probably a radio, so this microphone is probably used in order to communicate. Looking around, I don't see much else that's super interesting. I can't really see a ton in this room. There's the MCM logo again, way deep in that room, but I don't see much else for in here. Oh, okay, up next, this one is very interesting. You can see a hippo, almost like a Mr. Hippo-esque character, and another alligator character, both performing on stage, one of which has a banjo, exactly like the backstory of Monty Gator, which is very interesting. This is Monty Gator, very early stage of what seems to be Monty Gator, performing on stage with Mr. Hippo, like we see in that one ending of Security Breach. On top of that, these two frog characters are very similar to the character Happy Frog. If you remember, Happy Frog has that little ball on top of her head, very similar to these little guys. So it's almost like a lot of the things that are going on in this room, or rather this factory, seem to reflect a lot of what's going on in the future games of Five Nights at Freddy's rather than the older games. Seems to be much more reliant on the games that happen further in the future. This is the last image we get to see, and yeah, it's a very interesting one. I like that we get to see the hippo character as well as the alligator character a little bit better. We can see some sheep cutouts as well as the very intense circus theming that we see here. This almost looks like a cage that you would keep a lion in, and the lion tamers would just let them free and then try to contain them. Another interesting detail that I've noticed, this little snake thing. This is very similar to the FNAF 4 toy, Caterpillar, with all the rainbow like dots across it. It's very similar to the FNAF 4 Caterpillar toy. Super interesting. Alright, moving on from these screenshots, I want to go over the description. So the main description that we see here, for the Steam page, says, enter the abandoned workshop of Murray's so that's what MCM is Murray's costume manor. So enter the abandoned workshop of Murray's costume manor and unravel the mystery left behind by the recluse inventor. In Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, you'll step into a world where every dark corner holds a secret and every flicker of light hints at an ever-present threat. So that's interesting. The fact that they directly mention that every corner holds a secret implies that there's going to be a lot of secrets in this game, which I really look forward to. I love secret hunting, I love environmental storytelling, and the fact that this directly talks about how every corner has a secret, I like that. We're going to have to put the pieces together and figure out what the story of this game is. Alright, next we can see, obviously, the release date is... the planned release date is June 13th, 2025. Next up is the description. Enter the abandoned workshop of Murray's costume manor. Yeah, we saw this going over. Holds a possible threat. Alright. The Mimic, a prototype endoskeleton, can adapt to any costume and become any character, including what you fear most. That's really interesting. What do we fear most? I feel like this isn't implying something that we fear most, as in like, ooh, I'm afraid of spiders, I'm afraid of the dark. I'm guessing this is going to be some kind of traumatic event that occurred to the character that the Mimic will be mimicking. The Mimic will be getting into the mascot costume, for example. Maybe... I know it's not going to be this, but something akin to, like, the Crying Child. If the Crying Child was going up against someone dressed up as Fredbear, it might be something like that, rather than, oh, I'm just going to dress up as a spider because you're afraid of spiders. So I'm curious what traumatic event the Mimic could be, feeding off of and using to dress up as the thing we fear most. That's very interesting. Armed with only your wits, a few gadgets, and a heavily redacted corporate briefing, you'll attempt to retrieve Fazbear's prized prototype technology while grappling with cryptic clues and relentless shadows, determined to dispatch all unwanted company. That's also interesting. Like what I said in the trailer breakdown, it says a heavily redacted corporate briefing, likely meaning that us going into the factory is A, not going to be legal, and B, we are going to be attempting to break into and retrieve some stuff for Fazbear Entertainment that may not be theirs. and there's some shady stuff going on that we'll have to discover within the factory. Prepare for heart-pounding thrills as you'll explore the labyrinth of the deserted costume manor, discovering remnants of Edwin's unfinished work and eluding the monsters he's created. Experience Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic and survive the mystery and madness. Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic will be available on June 13th, 2025. Disclaimer: Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for whatever you awaken in the dark. Ooh, that is an enticing, captivating pull. I like the way they put that. The fact that you're exploring a labyrinth with remnants of Edwin's unfinished work. That's super cool. And the way that you'll have to survive the mystery and madness. Maybe this is FNAF Into Madness. This could be the unreleased Scott game that he talked about a long time ago in a post. But I guess that's super interesting. We'll have to find out. But yeah, this game is looking really good. Obviously, we have these system requirements. Not too much here. Just 16 gigabytes of RAM, usual stuff. Interestingly enough, this doesn't show VR compatible, which makes me think that this game was meant to be VR, but now isn't. So they might have, reeled it back, said, we won't be able to do VR for this game, so we have to keep it flat mode. A bit unfortunate. It sucks that we don't get to experience this game in full VR, but, what can you do about it? It seems like this likely is just going to be a flat mode game, no VR compatibility, and you'll just have to deal. But yeah, this is looking very exciting. These new screenshots look amazing, and I really look forward to the game coming out June 2025. I think this might be all we get for Secret of the Mimic for now. I don't believe that we'll be getting any more information anytime soon, and I think this will just have to tie us over for the next 2 months until June 13th comes around, where we will be exploring Secret of the Mimic together.